guys, it's Heather from Here She Grows, and welcome to my kitchen. So I have got a really cool lineup of kitchen mini vegetables, and it's meant for small space gardeners. Maybe you don't have a garden or a dedicated space, but maybe you do have a kitchen window, a very sunny one. Well, you can grow fresh vegetables with very little commitment, depending on how you want to do it. So, and everything I talk about will be linked below, so you'll find it down in the description. But I wanted to talk to you about these kitchen minis. I first came across them back a couple years ago at the Gardens at Ball when I was touring them in West Chicago, and they showed us their first introductions were some cherry tomatoes. So I've got two here, and this one's called Mini Cocoa, and then there's a red velvet, and there's several other varieties in the lineup. They also have sweet peppers and hot peppers. I've got, this is hot tamale, and this is Fresh Bites orange. And then this one, wait till you see this one. Look at that. And it's covered in flowers. It's called Quick Snack Cucumber. They're so cute. So I got these plants as starts from Vego Garden, but you will also be able, you can buy the seeds. So depending on how involved you want to get with this, you can buy the seeds ready to go. Maybe you could even find them at your grocery store. They're becoming more widely available across the Chicago area. At grocery stores, they're already covered in fruit that's ready to be picked and eaten. And all you got to do is plop them on your windowsill, keep them watered, fertilize them once a month, and they produce for about a month, and then they're done. So there's really no big commitment. You can pitch the plant when it's done producing or compost it, however you want to handle it. Now, the cool thing about this is oftentimes when there's flowers on a plant, you need a pollinator. These are parthenocarpic, so that means that there's no pollinator needed. These guys are going to keep producing, and then when they're done, they're done. So for now, I've got a ton of flowers on here, and we're going to up pot this because this is the pot that it came in. I also have seeds for it too. So the very first herb in the Kitchen Mini lineup is being introduced this year, and it's one called Basil Bonsai. So the Kitchen Minis comes from a seed company called Pan American Seed. So they keep adding on to their Kitchen Mini lineups because I feel like eventually we can have an entire vegetable garden right on our windowsill or in containers on our patio or wherever you have a sunny spot in your garden. But these can grow indoors or outside, whatever is most convenient for you. So let's plant up a few of these guys. We'll do the cucumbers from the start and then from the seed as well. Getting started, all you're gonna need are some containers. So anything like 6 to 8 inches in diameter will work perfectly well. For plants that are already started for you, you're gonna need some potting mix. So I just like to add that, dump it in my container, and then I like to pre-wet it as well. Now this is for if you're doing it like a plant that's already started for you. So for when you're starting it from seed, you're going to want to use some seed starting mix because the potting mix has fertilizer in it, and that fertilizer can cook or burn your little seeds. So it's better to just use seed starting mix for that purpose, but we'll get to that in a minute. So for this, I'm just using some organic potting mix and pre-moistening it so that it's not gonna sink down when I water it in my container when I get the plant in there. So for this, I'm just going to fill it up. And with the Quick Snack Cucumber, you want to harvest the fruits when they're about 2 to 2.5 inches long. So when you go to plant this, you want to make sure you're planting it at the same depth that it came in the container. You're going to want to put your trellis in there as well because it's going to need something to grow up. And then just go ahead and backfill it. And then once your Quick Snack reaches the very top of your trellis, you can give it a pinch back, and with that, what that pinch will do is force the plant to bush out and get a little fuller, produce some more flowers and more fruit. So these will produce for about a month, and then you can start over again if you want. It's a pretty cool thing to do for a small space with very little commitment involved, and I think kids would get a really big kick out of this too. I know my kids would. When my daughter saw this, my youngest daughter is soon to be 21, and when I showed her this little plant, she wanted to pick the cucumber already and have a taste. I'm like, no, you gotta wait a little bit longer. But they're just such a fun fun thing, and I just imagine little kids would have a ball with this. Plant it so that your plant is leaning into your support. I just realized that when I put this in the pot, it was leaning away from it, so I had to move it around so that it was leaning into it. And then you can also tie it up with some plant ties as it gets taller. And finally, just water it in. And that's the key, keeping these watered, especially cucumbers. You don't want them to dry out, because once they dry out, they stop producing flowers and they get really sad about things. So stay on top of the watering, especially when they're in a sunny window. This window dries out really fast. So all of my the plants in this window dry out really fast. So I have to stay on top of the watering because it's a southern exposure, so it gets really hot. So you could put this in like a south or a west facing window and you should have really good luck with it. Now let's say you want to grow your cucumbers from seed, and cucumbers are really easy to do, especially when the soil is nice and warm, which it will be in a sunny window. All you're going to do is fill your container with seed starting mix. Again, it's a 6 to 8 inch diameter container. Now for the seeds, once you've got your container filled up, and you don't want to take the soil all the way to the top because you want to make sure you allow room for water when you're watering and it's not going to overflow. So with cucumber seeds, you're going to sow them about 1 inch deep, and I really don't measure. I just measure up to that first knuckle in my finger. It's about 1 inch. And I'm going to do two seeds in here just to make sure I've got good germination, and then I'll eliminate one of them. And the cool thing about quick snack cucumber is they really are quick. So from the time you sow them to the time that you'll be picking them is about 5 weeks. That's how fast they are. So we're going to drop in a couple seeds. And you can just keep doing this and keep, little cucumbers on your windowsill all year long if you buy the seed. So I'm going to drop the seed in the holes. Oops. And then just cover them up. Give it a little more water. And you don't want to forget your support. It's better to put your trellis in now than it is to wait. Just find it easier to do. And then this will join the other one on the windowsill too. So if you should find some kitchen minis at your grocery store, you don't need to uppot those. You can leave them in the container they're in. Just make sure you put them in a really sunny window. Stay on top of the watering. Southern windows like this window here, the plants in that window always dry out really fast. It gets really hot. So stay on top of the watering. Fertilize once a month. I use an organic fertilizer with half strength, and enjoy. Just pick and enjoy. They're super fun. It's a fun thing to do with the kids, and just a nice thing to have on your windowsill. Have some fresh veg whenever you want it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.